He knocked me over. I landed on the dog bowl.
This one's wife. Prom life. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Laziness is a preference for the habitual grifter of what is known as prom life, and responsibility can be avoided if you take a route straight through to what is known as prom life. Harry's got no brain cells. He gets intimidated by the dirty narcissist. She loves to devalue him. Prom life. Who's that pothead smoking? You should cut down on your ganja, mate. Get a proper job. All the grifting. Oh, so much grifting. They both go hand in hand. Grip of doom through their prom life. Know what I mean? Boom, ba-dum, ba-dum, bum, bum, bum. Hello. An impromptu reworking of Blur's 1994 hit Park Life, retitled as Prom Life, because that is the focus of a particular way of life for this one's wife and the ginger poodle. Gina Kelsey reports on this phenomenon in the Daily Mail, whereby she writes, Prince Harry and this one's wife are treating life like a prom event as the couple attempt to break into the world of show business with their new and glamorous California life. Charlotte Griffiths, editor-at-large for the Mail on Sunday, explained that the Monty Shitshow-based Duke and Duchess of Sussex are treating life like a red carpet event. Now, pausing there, that is an accurate description for the way that this one's wife behaves. Remember, she has created this awful shared fantasy, which is her reality. She has sucked Prince Harry into that awful shared fantasy, whereby she believes that she is the most important person in the universe. This is because, in effect, the narcissism is telling her this on a daily and repeated basis. It's reminding her that she's important, that she's special, that she's talented, that she should be seen, that she should be heard, that she should be front and centre, that she should be filmed, that she should be photographed, that what she has to tell the world needs to be listened to, that her ideas are exciting and fresh, even though they're taken from other people. She doesn't see that. The narcissism cuts that bit out. Accordingly, she treats life, as described, like a red carpet event, whereby she is the centre of attention. The Mail's weekly talk show discussed the growing backlash over the decision to give Prince Harry the memorial award set up in the name of Pat Tillman, an American football star who gave up a £3 million contract to enlist in the US Army after 9/11. He served in Iraq and then Afghanistan, where he was killed by friendly fire in 2004. Pat's mother Mary said she was shocked and was not consulted about the decision to award the Duke of Sussex with the prestigious gong. She said there were recipients that are far more fitting, who do not have the money, resources, connections or privilege that Prince Harry has. Host Joe Elvin asked Charlotte whether the Sussexes were being tin-eared to the criticism they faced over the past week. Charlotte responded, I get the impression that life for this one's wife at the moment is a sort of prom event, and Harry is the prom king, and she's the prom king. I think she perhaps meant to state prom queen, and she's setting up all these events over the years that they can attend together. Although at the Living Legends of Aviation one, she actually didn't turn up with him because a similar controversy had happened before the event, and then she didn't go with him. I'll be very interested to see if this time next week she goes with him, Serena Williams, her great friend, is presenting the award, so she may well attend. See parts passing for my observations about whether she'll turn up. Life isn't a red carpet event for them to show off their brand. There are some various serious events out there, and they are being tin-eared. Now, what has been described as tin-eared is naturally the intransigent approach of this one's wife because she lacks emotional empathy. She does have cognitive empathy, but her cognitive empathy isn't particularly well honed. There are certain narcissists that have very impressive cognitive empathy. They have, in effect, learned what the appropriate responses and behaviour is in certain situations. In effect, what society expects by way of behaviour. And whilst the narcissist doesn't feel motivated or moved to behave that way, their narcissism has learned that the appropriate response would be, for instance, to ask somebody if they're all right, if they're showing what is recognised as signs of distress, to behave in a particular way when a tragedy has unfolded. We have seen repeatedly that this one's wife is not particularly good at doing that because, first of all, she lacks emotional empathy, and then her cognitive empathy isn't particularly polished or honed. This means that she, in effect, fails to read the room, that she fails to pick up on the signals that show an appropriate response will be X. Instead, she engages in Y, driven by the prime aims. So, for example, with the Uvalde tragedy, the appropriate response there would have been to stay away because she has no connection to the area. And her unpopularity was starting to grow around that time, with the consequence that actions by her may well have been interpreted in a critical fashion. Therefore, if she wanted to help, she could have perhaps organised something discreetly and quietly. But of course, that isn't the narcissist's way when you're this one's wife. Everything she does has to be broadcast and reported, whether it's wearing a stress patch on her wrist or walking across a car park. With this one's wife, she went to Uvalde, demonstrating that she has no emotional empathy and her cognitive empathy misfired. Not only that, her attendance was bad enough, but when she was there, she attempted to pass off some vending machine food as a donation. She attempted to enter an area that she was not entitled to go in for the purposes of filming, and she just strolled up and down the memorial that had been created, looking rather dishevelled, whilst being followed by a film crew and photographers. It rightly drew a lot of criticism. And that is one example of many where this one's wife fails to read the room. This failure stems entirely from her narcissism, and accordingly, as has been picked up by those discussing her, they describe her as being tin-eared. And in effect, it's simply the effect of her narcissism which causes her to think that she is the most important person, and therefore everything is a red carpet event when she turns up. Therefore, she behaves like it's a prom. She acts like she's always turning up to a prom, expecting to be regaled by those that are there, that the red carpet ought to be laid out for her, that she should be given special treatment. Harry, similarly tin-eared, not because of narcissism, but because of the fact that he's grown up in a life of privilege, and his ability to empathise has been significantly eroded as a consequence of the actions of his wife, that his entitlement has grown the more time that he has spent with her, and his less attractive traits have come to the fore. Also, he's not very bright, and therefore he has an inability to read the room also, although he was once much better at doing so. This one's wife's failure, of course, is wholly driven by her narcissism. And quite simply, those commentators are correct that she does treat life like a prom event. She believes that she's turning up as prom queen, No matter what it is, whether it's a tragedy, whether it's a catastrophe, whether it is talking about mental health, whether it's talking to the parents who have been recently bereaved as a consequence of their children dying through online bullying. She believes it's all about her, and the actual event itself is irrelevant so long as she is acknowledged, recognised, praised and lauded. It certainly is the case that they're both living the prom life. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.